Okay, the Divrei Torah tonight are Li Nishmat Tzvi Melch ben Yitzchak and Leo ben Shmuel and Yisrael Aaron ben Chaim Pinchas. All right, don't show me Shav Aliyah. In this week's parasha, there's another census. As Rashi explains, there's a shift of leadership, like when you hand sheep from one shepherd to another. Right, so just like the shepherd, initially got the number of sheep he's responsible for. They all have to be accounted for. If he passes on to another shepherd, the other shepherd also is accountable. So he has to know, the amount of sheep that were entrusted to him. So also in this week's parasha is another topic is how the transition of leadership is passed over to Yoshua. Yoshua gets his smicha, the samachta yadav olav from Moshe Rabbeinu, and that's why, because there was this transfer of leadership, there has to be this census. Except that they broke it up into families. So Ariel, Arieli, Yachzeeli. Right, so Rashi explains that they broke up the families, but they all say the of, the ha of, that's really the shame ka, right? That's talking about literally family purity, right? That we're friends here. Purity of the race, racial purity. The Umm would could not believe that's possible because the Mitzrim were sholet over Am Yisrael totally. They, if they could make the husband go out to work and stay out all day and all night, if they're sholet in the guf, so they're certainly sholet in their wives. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I put my divine name Ka, right? And that's Shiftei Ka Edus B'Yosef. Right? We say in the Shir Shal Yom, that we said today, right? That these are the Shvatim of Ka, right? That's Edus B'Yosef, that HaKadosh himself attests to their purity. So here's the question. First of all, why that divine name? Right? The name Ka. And why is it backwards? Right? So the name is Ka, right? Hey Yud is not a divine name. Right? So, but I put the Hey first and the Yud at the end. So how does that work? So to understand all this, then what this has to do with the transition of power that's taking place, and this is all in the context of the opening of the parasha is that after Pinchas did what he did, so he now becomes a kohen. So Zohar says something very interesting, that there's a certain mechanics to it. It wasn't magic how Pinchas became a kohen. Because initially, who were the Kohanim? It was Aaron, Nadav, Vaviu, Elazar, V'Samar, right? Aaron Ubanov. So, like Rashi explains, the kuna was given to Aaron Ubanov, but not to the grandchildren. And Pinchas was born already. It's only the children that will be born to Nadav, Vaviu, Elazar, V'Samar. Later, after they become Kohanim, are born as Kohanim. Pinchas was born already, so he wasn't a Kohen, right? But now what happened? Right, so we know Nadav, Vaviu, they died by Krivim Eish Zara. So the Zohar says like this, that at the time that Zimri went to complete the task of killing the head of Shevet Shimon in front of everybody, in front of his whole Shevet, pretty courageous act. He dropped dead from fright. He expired. And the neshamas of Nadav, Vaviu were in the area, and they entered his body, and they reanimated him. They brought him back to life, and mikoach their neshamas that were nisaber in him, he was able to complete the act, and that's why he's a kohen. There's, let's say, the raw mechanics of it is that he has the neshamas of kohanim inside of him right now. None of Avi are inside of him. They were nisaber and Pinchas, and now he's a kohen because he has the neshama of a kohen. He gained that in addition. So we have to understand there must be some type of connection between what Pinchas did and whatever was the chet of Nadav, Vaviu, because they get their tikkun through him. Right? This is how they get their second chance to put things right. Through becoming a part of him. And we know that this is not where it ends. This goes on. Pinchas ze Elio, and that's brought down Kisvei Ari. Ona Hashem Oshiana. Ona is Roshei Tevis. Elio Nadav Aviu. That's we're davening in the schos of Elio, who were initially Nadav Aviu, and by becoming incorporated in Pinchas, that subsequently gave us Elio and Navi. All right, there's amazing things. Right, so there's another amazing thing in this week's parasha that begs explanation. That we have the story of Benos Tzlafchad. They come and they present their claim that there's no male child, so they should get the Yerusha. So it says Rakav Moshe's Mishpatam Lifnei Hashem. Right, Moshe Rabbeinu said, "I'll bring the case before the Rebbe Shem, see what he paskins." So Rashi over there in the second shot says something that needs to be understood. He says, "Ruyos of Parsha li Kosev al Yedei Moshe." This parsha of Bnos Tzlafchad should have been written by Moshe. Zachu elu v'nichtava al Yodan. Right, there were zachas written through them. Was Megalva and Schusay Dei Zakai. What do you mean? Who wrote it? Who wrote it in Torah? Moshe Rabbeinu wrote 13 Sifrei Torah on the day that he died, right? He wrote it al Pi Hashem, right? Who got the nevuah, right? For they didn't get the nevuah. Moshe got the nevuah. So what do you say about this parasha, right? That it's called there was nichtava al Yodan. What was the nichtava al Yodan, right? They presented a shaila and then And Moshe Rabbeinu, got his nevuah from Hashem and subsequently wrote it in the Sefer Torah on the day that he died, al Pi Hashem. So why is it called Nichtav al Yod? So the idea is like this. As we said, there's the real center point of what's happening this week's parsha is there's going to be a transition of power, from Moshe to Yoshua. So it's in effect happens. Yoshua is nominated, appointed to be the successor to Moshe Rabbeinu. Now there's a qualitative difference between Moshe and Yoshua, as much as Yoshua was his right-hand man and was Mishamishim Katzli, Yeshua Nar, Lo Yomish Mitocha Ol. But there is a categorical difference between them, between Moshe and any leader that ever came afterwards. And I'm talking about in the Hanhaka of Torah. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu is the one and only that was ever licensed to say, Al Pi Hashem, Hashem told me this is what the Torah says, or this is what the Torah means. Right? Anybody after Moshe Rabbeinu who would do such a thing says, I'm telling you this dalacha, I have Ruach HaKodesh, I know that this is dalacha. What do you do with a person like that? Right? God told me this is the halacha. What? Yad Nevi'im. A Navi says, in the name of God, God told me this is the halacha. Kill him on the spot. If you had a cheskas Navi. Stam a guy, every Meshuggah. There's a guy who had a cheskas Navi, because, if it's Stam a nut, it's Stam a nut, right? We're not talking about, this is a guy who got established as a Navi, right? Kidi ber Sora, right? He's speaking Sheker. Can't be. Lo bashamayim. Because ever since Torah was given by Moshe Rabbeinu, right? This is the Rambam in Hilchos Yisodei Torah, right? A Navi is not allowed, right, to use his nevuah, to either be machadish in Torah, say something new that we never heard, or even to be machriya the halacha, right? Koshkein to say something new. Right? A Navi could tell you to do a horas shah. Horas shah means that the halacha is the halacha. This is an emergency procedure, but the Torah itself has not changed in any way. Like Elio sacrificing on Har HaKarmel, that's horas shah. That means the etzem halacha remains intact and unchanged. This is what we do on an emergency basis. Right? And it's very interesting. It's very nice that the Rambam, what he wrote earlier in life was the Pirush HaMishnayos. He says very nice lashon when the Rambam lays out this difference that there is ever since, after Moshe Rabbeinu dies, the way the Hanoga is going to be from that point onwards. Mashe Yasu Ravina v'Ravashi Hu Mashe Yasu Yehoshua v'Pinchas. It's Lashon Rambam in the Pirush HaMishnayos. Right, puts the two together. Yoshua and Pinchas, like in this week's parsha. What Ravina and Rav Ashi do, that's the way Torah works ever since the P'tira of Moshe Rabbeinu. He is the one prophet in history that could tell you, Al Pi Hashem, right, that this is the halacha, this is Torah. His nevuah is Torah. This is not the case from that point onwards. Right? So, which means that, and that's what the Gemara says in Tamura, right, that after Moshe Rabbeinu died, they forgot 3,000, many halachas in Tamura, Daf Tezayin, Daf Yud Zayin, right, they forgot so many halachas and Kal V'chomer, Dikduk Dei Sofrim, and they asked Yoshua, okay, bring this back for us. He says, I can't, Lo B'Shamayim he. Right, Achech Ziram Asnil Ben Knaz Bepilpulo. That's the way it works. It works with pilpul. So now you understand the interesting. You want to quantify, this difference. It's sort of like this between day and night, and it's an amazing medrash in Parshas Bereshis that darshans to 5 times it says or by the creation of light. Connected the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, right? Yehi or is Bereshis, Vayi or is Shmos Yotzu Me'afelo Lo'ira, divided with the Gula, right? Vaukim is or Kitov, is Sefer Vayikra, because Yeshbo Mitzvahs Merubas, and then it says Vayavdel Elokim, Ben Ha'or u Ben Ha'choshech, Zu Sefer Bamidbar, that's Mafresh Ben Dor Yotzei Mitzrayim, Levor Dor Boye Ha'aretz. Sefer Bamidbar, at the beginning of the Sefer, we're dealing with the door that left Mitzrayim in their first year in the desert. Second year, right? And with a few parshas later, we're dealing with the door of 40 years later, and that's called to be Mavdil Ben Ha'or u Ben Ha'choshech. Right? Now, if the medrash is to be kept symmetrical, Ben Or Ben Ha'choshech is Dor Yotzei Mitzrayim to Dor Boy Arts. That means Dor Yotzei Mitzrayim is Or, right? And Dor Boy Arts is Choshech. Now, the shtim's amazing, but we have to connect the dots, right? The shtim's very, very well, right? With the, what Chazal say on this week's parasha. Gemara Bava Basra Kamadumani, V'nasata mehotcha olav. Put some of your glory. Mehotcha v'lo kol hotcha. Zakenim shebol sador ayu omrim pnei Moshe k'pnei Chama u pnei Yoshua k'pnei Levana. Moshe Rabbeinu's face, he shines like the sun, right? Yoshua's face, he shines also, but like the moon. So we know, as Hashemesh, Mora Godo lememsheles hayom, as a Mora Cotton lememsheles halayla. Now Yoshua shines like the moon because the door by arts is called darkness, right? So it's like fits, it aligns. This door is called Or, so the Shemesh, right? The Chama Sholet, is Moshel by the Or, and the Levana is Moshel by the night. So, because the pshat is like this, when you have to use drushes and pilpul, right? You're groping, you're experimenting. Now we go with these tools because the Torah endorsed these tools, right? So whoever comes out with the drushes and the pilpulim, we're somech that we were mechavin la'amita shel Torah because that's what the Torah said to operate. Right, but it's eno dome, right, to the behirus, right, the clarity of hearing it, mi pia gvura, right. So the hanoga under Moshe Rabbeinu, you get it all directly. Mi pia gvura is no sveikas, but it also means the other way. There can't be machloikas, right. That's what the Rambam also writes in Hilchos Mamrim. Kol davar sheyesh bo machlokes biyadua she'eno mimoisha. Any machlokes in Shas, in the Shitas Rambam, is not, legabe, what did Moshe Rabbeinu say? On that, there's no sveikas. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu had no suffix, he taught it over, just one way. Where did machlok in Shitas Rambam? Where does machlokas come from? After Moshe Rabbeinu, when new shilas arise, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't say anything. So in pilpul, there's not always one result. Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, they're working with the same intellectual tools. They both have the same toolbox. They come up with different results, right? The machlokas is in all the ishtalshus of Torah after Moshe Rabbeinu, things that Moshe Rabbeinu did not teach us one way or the other. These are the new shilos. That's where machlokas comes from. And of course, that's because that's the darkness, that's the suffix. But we say that since we played by the rules and we did it the way the Rebbe Shalom said, Al Pi Moshe, these are the tools you're going to use. That's why we say Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chayim right? Because everyone, conducted the experiment correctly. And that's why, because everyone's has equal academic standing because they each one used the tools that we were meant to use. Marashiva Zechron Levracha, Rav Yaakov Weinberg, used to say a beautiful mashal on this, for El Vel Divel Kim Chaim. Basic algebra, guys. X squared is equal to 4. What's x? Only 2? -2. -2 also. It's true. -2 times -2 equals +4. Right? It's true. 9th grade, guys. You guys don't have a Regents diploma. Right? Right? It's true. Right? Academic, they both solve, But of course, and even so, halacha kedivrei Beis Hillel, because -2 is not a practical answer. We don't live in a universe of negative integers. It's all theoretical. So that's how you could have, that's why it makes sense. Elu ve'elu divrei Kim Chaim, but still halacha kedivrei Beis Hillel, because even though from an academic standpoint they're equally valid, right? There's a more practical answer. That's why halacha could be like 1. So you're going to use the 2 and not the -2, right? And this is all, this hanhaga is called choshech. You're working with pilpul, you're guessing. That's why you can get different results. And when you don't have, we can't be machriya, and so you have to go achrei rabim latos. So this is how the hanhaga is changing. That right now, how it's going to work. Things are going to work bottom up. Right? We have a suffix. We don't go to God with our sveikas anymore. Right? We have to work things down out on earth. Right? That is the fundamental difference. It's called living in the darkness of Olam Hazeh, right? The darkness of the... And now, let's go quickly full circle. The Gemara Menachah says, Ki b'ka Hashem tzor olamim. With the name Ka, Hashem created 2 worlds, right? The Olam HaElyon was created with the letter Yud, and the earth was created with the letter Hey, right? And that's what it means. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose the name Ka, right? That said that, because the name Ka represents that the universes are linked. Right? HaKadosh says, even I from heaven, I'm watching the Jewish people that they don't assimilate. But over here, there's an amazing thing. What's going to be dominant? What's going to be dominant is the hanhaga on earth. When Moshe Rabbeinu is alive, Moshe Rabbeinu goes to Shamayim, and he teaches us the Torah of Shamayim. Right? The whole hanhaga under Moshe Rabbeinu, Shamayim is dominant. Under Yoshua, right? The door bayarts, it's bottom up. So Kayadua, another thing about the Yud and the Hey, right, is that the Ish has the Yud, Isha has the Hey, and that's what the Zohar says in Parshas Chayesara, right, that in the integrated unit between man and woman, that as how they're like one person, in the integrated unit, he's like the neshama and she's like the guf. That's beside Ishto Kegufo, right? We don't say the other way. Ba'ala Kegufo. He's like her neshama. Ishto Kegufo, Isha Ksheira. Osa rotzon ba'ala, if you're allowed to say that in this generation, right? Because that's the relation between guf and neshama. It does the rotzon, the guf does the rotzon of the neshama, right? But over here, it's called Benos Slavcha took initiative. The Isha, earth, and it was about the Oretz. It's the earth taking initiative, the woman taking initiative. So something was a little bit different over here. Even though, of course, Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who got the Nevuah, Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who wrote it in the Torah, Al Pi Hashem, but it was in response to Benos Slavcha raising the question. And so the Torah credits it to their credit, even though, because it started on earth. And that's called Nichtav Al Yodam, they were the catalyst. Because B'derech Klal, it's Vayedavar Hashem Moshe, HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls Moshe into Ol Moed, or, and gives him, so it starts from heaven. Over here, it started from earth. Right? An amazing thing about this halach of Kanoim Pogimbo, right? 1 minute. Minute again, right? This halach of Kanoim Pogimbo, it's halach of Ein Morin Kain. It has to be spontaneous. If you ask the Rav, you want to do it top down. I want to get my orders. He's not allowed to answer you. He's not allowed to tell you to do it. It's kind of extra legal. It's done without a Sanhedrin. It has to be done. The Kanoi has to do it on his own initiative. Really, I don't want to get too technical right now, but the guy who's, you're allowed to kill him when he's in the act, he's not chayiv misa be'etzem. If you get prosecuted by Bezdin, he walks. Right? If after the Pirish to Adam say this is what he did before he walks. Right? It's a special spontaneous din that the Kanoi bottom up on his own initiative. The Rav's not allowed to tell him to do it, and if he asks the Rav's not allowed to answer. right? And this was a tikkun. What Nadav Avihu did was they took matters into their own hands. And that's what Chazal say. Rashi brings it. They were more halacha b'fnei Rabban, right? And that wasn't the time. They were lived under Hanog of Moshe Rabbeinu. They're supposed to take orders, and that's what Chazal say. They said Masa Yamusu Shneis Keinim Elu. They were waiting for Moshe Rabbeinu to pass on, and Hanog passed to them. But you live under Moshe Rabbeinu. Things work top down. You don't take initiative. But what Pinchas did, this special halacha of taking initiative, Kanoi, not supposed to ask, supposed to take action on his own. Bottom up, this was a tikkun for the passion of Nadav Avihu. They wanted a hanhaga like that, but it wasn't the right time, right? They had to do everything al pi Moshe and not do ashalo tziva. And that's the secret, that Nadav Avihu find their tikkun in Pinchas because their passion of wanting to take initiative and do things on their own. The time had not come, but the time had come with Pinchas, and that's why they were nisaber him and they found their tikkun with him. All right, we'll stop here. We'll stop here.